Hi guys, it's Mike here from KS Bushcraft Down Under. Tabletop review today. I don't know if you can hear it in the background. It is pouring down outside. 4 days into spring and it's chucking it down. So, Grim Workshop. They make all sorts of pocket-friendly survival gear. This is their pocket fishing starter kit. Now at the moment this is 68 Australian dollars. So I actually wanted one of their roundabout discs for my Exotac X reel. So due to the cost of postage I decided to get a few items, and there was a few things in this kit I thought were pretty neat and far cheaper as a kit than individually. So I weighed the tin to start with all the packaging inside, 80 grams, without the packaging 75 grams. The tin is 96 millimeters long, 62 wide and 10.5 millimeters thick. Okay, little slidey tin. It's actually quite a nice little tin. So here's the contents. So comes with a what they call a line card. So this fella here. So it's a wax cordage. I had to look it up online. It's 20-pound test wax cord. So 12 yards. 10.97 meters. Handy for sewing. There's 1,000,001 uses for this outside of fishing. So I think that's a pretty good bit of gear. The specialty hook card, which is one of the things I wanted. This fella here. So 11, I'll call them trebles, even though well, they'd be doubles I suppose. 5 little weights. 14 clip-on hooks. So it looks pretty neat. So these doubles, that's all I can call them I suppose, should work with their lures really well. I've been fiddling around with these clip-on singles and I don't know how strong they're going to be, guys. That piece of metal there, and don't forget this is stainless, maybe I'm wrong. Now I'm going to test one of them anyway to destruction to see what this can actually hold when it's clipped on to one of the lures like this. Okay, so I'll test that to destruction. We get 2 tip cards, and actually I think they're pretty cool. So improvised fishing hooks, setting up a fishing trap, making a prawn out of a drinking straw. That's one of these concertina type straws, and some joking notes. So that's pretty handy. It's got this one came with a 2-finger hand fishing card. Now you'd think, just me again, it's got 3 lures on there, very useful. If this was all you had, surely maybe 2 lures and 2 hooks would be a better choice. So I mean, with line and hooks you're fishing. Without those 2 you're not really fishing. So I would have, my thoughts are you'd be better off with some hooks and some lures rather than just 3 lures. Okay. And this fella here is this lure card. Okay. So they're plastic. They're coloured on both sides. Now I removed them all and was pushing out these little plugs where it's designed to be attached and or the double hooks put through. And some of them were really difficult to get off, and I was using a gentle tool and I managed to break one of them. And not through a thin part. I don't understand it breaking, across the narrowest point, but that's actually broken across the widest point. So a tad disappointed there. So my thoughts are, I mean, obviously these goes with these, but if you're going to use them I would suggest running the line, not just tying it here to an eye, to go all the way through to the hook as you do with the conventional hooks that they normally come with. Those there. So you can actually see the difference in what I'm saying with these clip-on singles, how much difference the material thickness is. So one down, plenty to go. Anyway guys, I will work out a way of testing one of these clip-on singles, whether it be with a spring scale or I mean the kit comes with a 20-pound line. If I tie 10-pound on and see what gives first, the hook or the line, that might be a reasonable test. Because when a fish bites down on something, he's got a fair bit of push from that point to that point. Probably more so than direct pull. I've seen heavy duty saltwater lures here in Australia where the treble hooks, the 3 prongs, get straightened out against the body of the lure. But I mean, much smaller scale here. Anyway, we'll see how we get on. Alright guys, I've got some 10-pound mono still on the original spool, so there's no jiggery going on there. I've put a uni knot onto this lure. I've got the clip-on hook in place. Now I'm going to try and test this to destruction. I've also got a 3 kilo scale. So 3 kilos, 2.2 pound to a kilo, 6.6 pound. It's within the zone. I should have a bigger one, but I can't find it. So I'm going to clamp this hook down and see if I can pop the line. And if I can't, we know it's solid at 10 pound. If it pops, I'll test with a spring scale. Okay guys, so I've got this clamped down. I can see this going pear shape. Here's my lure. Here's my 10-pound line. So I see this getting me a hook in the bitty hand here. Well, my knot failed before it did. Oh well, let's reset and try again. Okay, trial 2. Didn't feel like it took that much tension to pop my knot. I think these sharp edges might need some attention. Anyway, I'll step it up with some stronger line. Okay guys, to me it appears this has opened up a little bit. It was easier to get the lure off. So I've got my spring scale. Out of camera range. Okay, there's 1 kilo. There's 2. Oh, it's holding 3 kilos. That's surprising. So I can hold it. Held 3 kilos once. Second draw it failed. Oh, that's a tad disappointing, isn't it? So it took 3 kilos on the first pull. The second pull it completely deformed. So they supplied 20-pound test and it fails at 6.6. I'm going to test one of the standard hooks, see how that performs. Okay guys, I've got one of their double hooks, i.e. their flat trebles, if you want to call them that, onto the lure, so there's movement there in the joint. I've only clamped it on one side. I mean, how many times have we caught a fish on one hook out of a set of trebles? The answer for me is quite often. So it would be unreasonable to expect that you would get both of these locked at one time. I know it's a worst case situation. I'm sure if I clamped it across both I'd get a stronger reading. But it's all about the realism for me. Okay. 1 kilo. Looks good. 2 kilos solid. Dead on 3. I was holding that solid, even on one hook. Once. Twice, a little bit of opening up going on, I think. 3 times. Well, it's opened up a little bit, but that's certainly much better than the clip-on singles. And I'll take the spring scale out and give it a hard shot. Let's see what it does. Ooh. Didn't take much more than I was pulling before. Yeah, so 3 and a bit kilos. Slightly more than my spring scales will handle. There she goes. Should be time, probably should not slate them. But a lot better performance than the single. Not exactly what we call rock solid. Okay guys, so we've got the single hook. I've tied the lure on as I would expect to do. I think I can feel the roughness in these holes. It's actually marking the braid. So, get a nice spring scale again. Yeah. It's cutting the braid. Cutting the braid. Okay guys, what I've done, I've put on a clip that we use for trout fishing lures. I'm sure it's the sharp edges. I'm sure it's not me. Maybe 3 kilo. 3 kilo. 3 kilo. 3 kilo. 3 kilo. 3 kilo. So it's obviously the sharp edges are cutting the line. I am cranking on it now. Right, so we've learned something useful. So there's your scales maxed out. No problems at all. Well guys, a bit of testing was interesting. So the single clip-on hooks, as I suspected when I looked at them, incredibly weak. the flat treble or double, strong enough. The problem with these guys is they have sharp edges on it, so even passing the line in and out was enough to shear. And this is at least 30-pound braid. Yeah, it only took me to tension it 2 or 3 times, and it was splitting the line where it was passing through, so I need to work out something for that. The single hook, the same, sharp round the edges, or inside. When I added this little clip, which normally has a swivel as well, I use them a lot for trout fishing, very small lures to give them a better action. By adding that, same knots and everything, I got a lot of strength out of this hook. In actual fact, it was beyond my ability to pop it, you know, with my my hand using this braid. So multiple times, different angles, it was no problems at all. So obviously, if you're going to use these hooks, you're going to have to think about adding a little round clip like this. So we've learned it this morning, guys, on a rainy day. Anyway guys, if you like the content I create and it helps you make good decisions, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall see you next time.